I'm going to share with you one of the most overlooked Dungeons & Dragons storytelling techniques that could be the most powerful thing we can do to captivate and wow our players. It's a technique that will not only have you seeming like a total genius DM, but will also lead to the most satisfying moments you and your party have ever had. I'm not only gonna show you how it works, I'm also gonna give you actionable steps so you can start using this awesome technique in time for your very next session, but I'll also share with you a secret way to avoid using it incorrectly that Matt Mercer himself could have used. You'll find out what that is at the end of the video, of course. I've been obsessed with storytelling techniques and how to convert them into the tabletop RPG medium for years now. I've done the research, I've done the testing in hundreds of games, and I've synthesized the most useful and valuable techniques for you to now steal from me and reap the benefits of. Welcome, storytellers. I am Holistic Dungeon Master, and I help DMs master their craft. If you're enjoying my content so far, then please like the video, crit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay up to date with the latest in Dungeons & Dragons tabletop RPG storytelling techniques. Now let's get rolling! I had a big problem in my early days as a dungeon master. I was making a huge storytelling error again and again, but the worst part of it, though, is that I thought I was doing something really cool for my party. So what was it? What was this cardinal sin, this fatal faux pas? I was introducing huge twists, massively subverting my players' expectations out of nowhere. I was always turning the narrative tables on my party from left of field. Is this left for you guys? One of them. Ooh, the bad guy was actually the good guy this whole time. Oh, I bet you didn't see that random item being critical to the entire narrative, and so on. Now look, there's nothing inherently wrong with these plot devices. In fact, they can work quite well, but the way I was using them was horrendous, and they always left my party feeling confused or cheated in some way, and you don't want that as a dungeon master. You don't want that. It felt as though I was just doing all that stuff to kind of mess with them. But I wasn't, I really wasn't. I was trying to do some kind of clever story stuff, but it always fell flat because I didn't know about one of the most important storytelling techniques. But now I do, and now my payoffs are satisfying and impactful for my party, but also for me too. They're some of the best moments ever if you do them correctly. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to use this technique so you don't make the same egregious sins that I have. Now let's start where I should have. Like I said, my party always felt like I kind of lumped these huge twists on them from absolutely nowhere at all because I didn't do this part. Okay, I didn't know to do this part, but I didn't do this part. Every twist, every payoff, every realization or revelation needs a proper setup. If you don't allude to or foreshadow them, it will always feel like the last few seasons of Game of Thrones. Remember that? It will feel as though you, just like the two Davids did, naughty, that you're subverting your party's expectations just for the sake of subverting their expectations. And that's no good. I mean, geez, just look at these scores. Ouch. So how do we do it right? Well, ever heard of a little thing called Chekhov's gun? Chekhov was a brilliant playwright back in the day, and he was fond of what he had this kind of little saying he liked to use. If in the first act you have hung a pistol on the wall, and in the following act it should be fired. Otherwise, just don't put it there. What this means is that we will need to put emphasis on the things we want to pay off or reveal later, and that we shouldn't place emphasis on the things we don't intend to be relevant. More on that later. But let's focus on that first point. When we finally make that big reveal or hit them with a shocking twist, things we put emphasis on throughout the past few sessions, even in the entire campaign, they need to point to this moment, this big reveal, this twist happening. If we've done that correctly, when it does, our party need to slap their foreheads in shock and go, "Of course." That's what we want, and we do that by setting up these moments well in advance, as early and as often as we can. We want to reveal that one of the party's allies has one foot in the illicit substance trade that they're currently trying to tear down. Then we need to seed clues and foreshadowing about that fact early on, right? So our party could learn early on that this ally keeps very odd hours. They could learn that this ally seems to always kind of, quickly put something away, something important perhaps, when they come to visit them. Perhaps they hear a rumor that shady individuals lurk near this ally's residence or place of business, whichever. But okay, let's say you've done this now. Your seeds are planted and you've drawn a kind of a decent amount of attention to them while keeping them, of course, vague enough so that it doesn't give the game away. What next? We have our foundation now, don't we? We know these little story seeds over here are gonna germinate and grow and sprout and pay off later. But what about everything in between? Sure, we can lay a seedling or two about or pay off and call it a day until it actually does pay off. But a long time can pass between those 2 points, and let's face it, some of our players don't exactly have a great memory when it comes to these things, right? I know I don't. I'm a terrible note taker and I have a terrible memory. I'm very much an in-the-moment player, and you're gonna have players like this too, especially if a lot has happened in the campaign since then. So we need to build our seedlings up, right? We need to nourish them, water them, fertilize them, grow them from a sapling to tree before the blooming and flowering of our payoff. We do this so that 1, well, our party don't forget. And 2, that payoff needs to have more meat behind it for it to really hit. This is what gives our party that shocking forehead slapping, oh my god, why did we not see it coming? It was all there moment I was talking about earlier. It also gives us the chance to throw our party off the scent while we're waiting to hit them with that big reveal. Because you see what happens if maybe they get a little too intrigued by one of our little seedlings that we planted and decided to investigate. It's okay, don't panic. This is your chance. This is our chance to throw in a few red herrings, or maybe even plant a few more seedlings that are related to the payoff as they find out more and delve a little deeper. But as always, not enough to give away the game, to give away the full surprise prematurely. Sticking to our previous example, remember that shady ally we were talking about who's got his foot in the illicit drug trade? Maybe the party tried to follow this ally during their odd hours. Maybe they discover that the thing that their ally tries to cover up when they visit is the basket of food and children's clothes, right? The mystery deepens, but now it seems a little less suspicious. Mysterious for sure. Maybe they find out that this ally actually visits an orphanage at these odd hours to donate these baskets. Now their suspicious behavior is a little different. Now this could easily throw them off this ally's character's involvement in that illicit substance trade by painting their seemingly strange behavior in an altruistic light, right? They're the provider of food and clothes for these poor orphans. But it all hides their true illicit substance related activities, which we'll delve into in the next section. Be patient. All of our work, all of this seemingly mundane stuff that we've been putting extra emphasis on, all of these little red herrings we've been adding during the build-up, all of the calling back to our seedlings and making them more relevant during that build-up too, to keep them, keep them kind of fresh in our players' minds, keep them right there. And all of that while trying to keep our party from finding out the true relevance between them. It's all happening in this kind of difficult, very delicate balancing act. But all of it will be worth it in the end, because our seedlings will have grown into mighty trees that are about to bear delicious, juicy fruit and bloom with a lush and beautiful flowers, and it's all going to pay off. This is what it's all about. The big reveal, the big twist, the big revelation. This was the bit I was trying to pull off without doing any of the stuff I've just shown you in the setup and in the build-up. I paid the price, but you don't have to. Remember our shady ally? Well, we've laid the seeds for our party to be a little suspicious about them. We threw off the scent by providing a seemingly virtuous explanation for these strange behaviors, but now the reveal. Maybe now the party learn in this payoff that the orphanage is a front for this illicit substance operation. The goods were stashed inside the food and clothes their ally dropped off in their middle of the night excursions to the orphanage. Now all of our initial seedlings and our seemingly innocent explanation for them, it all makes total sense in relation to the big reveal. Now look, this is a simple example, and as always, the only limit to these things is your beautiful, wonderful DM minds. But if you take the time to nourish your seedlings and keep them safe until the right moment, just like this, it will pay off not just for your party, but well, for you too. When our players are treated to a wonderful payoff that was hinted at and alluded to, and now that they know what the big secret is, all of that other stuff makes complete and total sense. That is a payoff that is a seriously satisfying one because of all of these things. You will feel as though you have really done your job, not just as a wonderful dungeon master, but as a masterful storyteller too. Your party will see you as such. That's the beauty of it. But hold on, I promised you something, didn't I? At the very start of the video, remember? I promised to share with you a major pitfall that is crucial to avoid when trying to use setups and payoffs in our campaigns, and what to do to recover if you do end up falling into this pitfall. And I will deliver. The most important thing to bear in mind when using setups and payoffs in our campaigns is this: do not emphasize something unimportant. Remember that episode of Critical Role when Matt Mercer described a chair in a room just a little bit too well? Remember what his party did? Yes, yeah, exactly. They spent 20 minutes, I think, could have been longer, trying to understand how the chair was important to the plot. Matt got mad. He got really upset about that. And the players just kind of wasted time with this chair instead of moving the story forward. So be careful, especially if you've done a few setups and payoffs before, because your party they'll naturally start to look for them and kind of expect them. However, if that does happen, fear not. If you accidentally embellish some details about a shop or an item or some book or NPC habit where you didn't really mean for that to be that important, it's okay. There's a way to make it seem as though whatever your party get hung up on, you meant it to be so all along. And your party will feel like they are super genius Poirot-like detectives. Win-win, right? You see, I think Matt was a little bit too rigid in this one scenario. Clearly, his party was extremely suspicious of the chair, so he should have, in my opinion, made their suspicions valid, right? He should have made that chair important to the plot, I say. Not an easy thing, but it's exactly what you should do if you can in a situation like this. Try to improvise some way to make whatever they are misguidedly getting hung up on important to the plot and drive the story forward ever closer to your big payoff, the big reveal. No. It's not easy, and honestly, none of this is easy. It takes practice. It'll take a lot of practice. You will suck at first, but sucking at something is the first step to being sorta good at something. Yeah boy, Jake the dog, coming at you with some wild wisdom. So start now, and you and your party can share in these seriously satisfying moments when all of your hard work builds up to the ultimate payoff. By the way, just a huge, a momentous, a gargantuan shout out to my Patreon subscribers. We're getting closer and closer every month to being able to afford better equipment like better lighting, better camera, right? Maybe even hiring an editor in the future so I can bring you even more videos. So thank you so much. If you are not subscribed and you are interested in doing so to help the channel reach these impressive new heights in the future, then please consider subscribing to my Patreon. You'll find it down in the description below. But alrighty, I teased some actionable steps to get you to watch this far in the video, some steps to get you started on your journey of setup and payoff mastery. Thanks for sticking around this long, by the way. So here they are. Step 1. There it is, gotta make room for it. Didn't in the last video, paid the price. Step 1, find a classic setup and payoff from your favorite source of media. Watch it, read it, play it, understand exactly how it works. Research the best or most famous or most well-written ones, and this will lead you to step 2 now. Consume that and write down the setup, seedlings, build-ups, and ultimate payoff for it. Map it out and use that as inspiration for step 3. Write your own setup and payoff structure, but start with the payoffs. First, work backwards, then you'll understand and you'll better be able to think about what your first seeds will be. You can think about what sort of buildups you can use, but ultimately it'll be kind of difficult to know exactly how to do this without seeing what kind of story your party will be writing with you, with their actions and your scenarios, right? And how they interact with it. So it's better to do that as the campaign goes on, but perhaps jot down a few ideas and be willing and ready to toss them out if they don't make sense anymore. Step 4, start planting these seedlings in the story at your very next session. Once you've all this stuff done, start using it right away. The quicker you get started, the quicker you will master this impressive skill. Step 5, rethink and adjust your build-up as necessary once you're in the thick of it, once these sessions are occurring. Step 6, pull it all together for the big reveal, the big payoff, the big, beautiful, beautiful payoff. But it doesn't stop there. Step 7, relish in your party's shock and awe of your DM brilliance. Finally, step 8, share your experience in the HDM community Discord server. So you can become part of the community, add your voice to this discussion so we can all help each other hone our craft. If you've watched this video up until now, then you are the DM I make these videos for, someone who is truly dedicated to being the very best DM they can be. So thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It really makes a difference. Please like the video, share it with another DM who you think needs to work on their setups and payoffs, crit the subscribe button and notification bell. And remember, this world needs good DMs.